Right. I did give this at Pittsburgh last week, and due to faults in laptops and connecting to projectors and what have you, I ended up having to do a 20-minute talk inside 10 minutes. So I've cut 10 slides, so I'm quite confident I can do this in 5. Right. Any ideas what that number might represent? Something to do with cpan.
Oh, nothing to do with cpan?
Upload this?
No, something to do with cpan.
You're
You're in the right ballpark. It's the number of cpan authors that are registered with PAWS. About that number.
Number who've actually uploaded something.
Number of cpans who've actually uploaded distributions, to be more precise. And as a consequence, that's the number of cpan authors who haven't actually uploaded anything. And there's many reasons why they haven't uploaded anything. It could be they've simply registered and haven't got around to uploading anything. They may have uploaded scripts which don't get registered as part of this number. They could also have been registered so they can go on to things like RT. Because I don't know about so much now, but previously, if you actually wanted to submit a bug to any of the cpan modules, you had to register with RT as a cpan author, which was a bit of a pain, and I'm sure they have changed it since. Yeah, so there are many reasons why authors haven't been involved, but it is quite a large number. Having said that, that is the number of authors uploading something to PAWS within each month. And this is starting from January 2000, and as you can see, it's actually growing. That's just the number of authors who've submitted something. So that's individual authors submitting, so regardless of whether they've submitted 1, they've submitted 10 in a month. It's just counting the number of authors, and as you can see there, it's actually growing quite considerably. More significantly, this is the number of new authors per month. So in each one of these points on the graph is the number of authors who have never submitted to cpan before ever. So as you can see there, cpan is actually really healthy, despite what anyone might tell you. There are roughly around about 50 people, 20 to 50 or 20 to 40 people uploading something new every single month. That's phenomenal. You know, the fact that it's fairly linear, you know, you can actually assume from that it's actually growing. As you see from the previous graph, it is actually growing. This is the number of cpan distributions currently owned by a particular author. And as you can see, there's
I think that's out of date.
It'll probably be out of date. This was taken just before I flew out to Pittsburgh, so I was going to try and update it today, but unfortunately I didn't have time. So yeah, this is what it was a couple of weeks ago. You might hear the name Zofix quite a lot. He's always getting mentioned and put down for various reasons. But this is actually all distributions uploaded. Unsurprisingly, Adam's been at it with module install. This actually includes distributions that people have uploaded but have since passed on to somebody else. So there's still quite a number up there. But the interesting one is the number of all releases. Zofix has actually disappeared off the planet. But as you can see, there's a number of people up there who are very, very into actually releasing stuff. Most of these are probably just bug fixes and the ability to actually respond quickly to bug fixes and feature requests and things like that. But as you can see from all of this is the fact that cpan authors generally are quite responsive and are actually getting quite involved in cpan. The fact that certainly Chris Williams, Bingos, and Adam Kennedy haven't been around that long, and the fact that they're actually top of the tree actually releasing stuff is pretty good. Okay, another number.
Total number of distributions.
Number of distributions on cpan. Slightly different number. Number of cpan and backpan distributions. Following on from that.
Distributions of all versions.
Number of distributions released on cpan, and that's the number of distributions released on cpan and backpan. As you can see, the number there is actually double what it was on cpan, so there's quite a difference. But between these two, there's roughly 2,000 between what's on cpan and what's on cpan and backpan. So you can actually basically say roughly 2,000 distributions have been deleted for one reason or another. Usually it's the names changed. This is the number of distributions being uploaded to cpan every month, and again, you can actually see there it's actually increasing quite significantly. We're roughly getting about it's about 1,000 distributions being uploaded to cpan every month. And this is, again, following on for the authors, this is the number of new distributions that are hitting cpan every month. And again, this is quite phenomenal. This is basically a distribution that hits cpan has never been existed before. And again, this is something that quite shocked me. I wasn't expecting this to be quite as high. I was probably expecting maybe 50 or something like that, you know. But for it to be, you know, nearer 200 being hit on cpan was quite significant. I took a list of all the distributions that have had the most releases, and I was actually quite shocked to see what hit number 1, especially seeing as it's nearly twice the next one in line. I shouldn't have been surprised, but it's cpan.pm. And then the rest are a bit of a mixture. Unsurprisingly, things like CGI, Mod Perl, DBD, and stuff like that are in there as well. And then some final numbers. Any ideas for this? This is about 2 weeks out of date at the moment. It's related to cpan.
Number of tests?
Well done. Number of test reports currently submitted. We've just hit over 4 million test reports. So it's quite a significant, it happened at the beginning of this month. Quite a momentous occasion, really, the fact that cpan...
Bingo's is a quarter, though, isn't it?
Sorry?
Bingo's is a quarter,
something like that, yeah.
And I've not seen one post on Iron Man shouting about it.
I haven't posted for the last month. These numbers, just to give you a flavour of how we're actually testing stuff. This is the number of versions of Perl and the versions of number of platforms being tested. This was just during the month of May. It's roughly about the same. It fluctuates slightly. Unfortunately, what we're actually looking for is to try and get a good coverage of that matrix. But unfortunately, we're not seeing as much as we'd like. So if you have a box somewhere with an odd distribution of Perl and an odd platform, please get in touch. This kind of just looks at some of the reports that are coming in. As you can see there, with all the reports that are coming in, pretty much all of them are passes. So cpan is pretty healthy these days. And then this is just looking at the numbers from the number of testers we're getting and the number of platforms we're covering and the number of Perls we're covering. And it's pretty flat. Again, it kind of fluctuates, but we're doing pretty well. And that was it. Thanks for listening.